Hi, my name is Ron Layman. I'm from the Faux School in Frederick, Maryland, where I teach decorative painting workshops and complete commission projects for clients all around the world. Today, I'm going to show you a technique using Travertino Italian lime plaster to create this really pretty, soft texture in a linear pattern with silver and blue highlights. So let's get our tools, let's go to materials, and let's get started. So the first thing I've done to get ready for today's technique is I base coated the surface using the quartz primer. Quartz primer is an interior-exterior proprietary base coat. I know it's called primer, but it's technically a base coat. It is not used to prime raw surfaces. You want to prime those raw surfaces with the correct primer based on the surface. Drywall would be using a drywall primer or a PVA sealer. Wood, you might be using an oil-based primer. So talk to your paint store rep, figure out what you need to put on the surface first to seal it. Then you're going to put the quartz base coat over top of it, because that's what's going to give you the adhesion, the chemical bond for the plaster to stick to the surface. You don't want to use quartz primer or base coat as the initial primer. Like this is MDF that I've primed with 2 coats of Zinsser 123 tinted gray. And then I just took it through some black oxide into the quartz primer to get this dark black color that we're looking for this finish, because it's going to help us get there. So quartz primer, interior, exterior, tints with pigment, never paint, cleans up soap and water. Okay, the product we're going to be using today is our Romano Travertino. Now, this product comes in a dry form. I'm going to show you how to mix it. So stick with me for a second. Romano Travertino, we're going to tint it. So we have a cup here. Let's see how we get to this thing. We're going to put some in this cup. We're going to pour that in here. Let's get some more. It's a big board. All right. All right, now we're going to throw some pigment in it. I'm using my carbon black. Because I want this jet black. And then distilled water. Because we know what we're getting with distilled water. All right. Then we're going to take our big drill and mix this up. Now, when you do this, you want to add a little bit of water at a time, not adding too much. Because if you add too much, it's going to get real soupy on you and you're going to have a mess. So part of it is you get to control the thickness you're looking for. So if you want it real thick and stiff, less water. You want a little thinner, more water. There's a lot of things you can do with it. Okay, I'm pretty happy with my color. I want jet black. Typically, I would weigh this out, make sure I got the right increments to recreate it properly later. For this sample, I'm just going with a jet black. No big deal. Now, what I'm going to do is mix this up for a solid 10 to 15 minutes, because I'm going to break all this up and get it nice and creamy and no clumps, no lumps. When I put it on the wall, I don't want to see particulates explode and get little pockets of white unmixed material. So I'll be back in just a little bit. So we took about 10 to 15 minutes, mixed it up. You can see how dark it is. Pretty thick. Tools for today. We're going to be using the old Pavon 824 and a spatula. Why this one? Because this is an older trowel. Travertino has a very thick aggregate compared to everything else as far as like the Grisellos and the Marmarino 300, the 500 to 700. I know there's different variations of Marmarino. We're getting into all this stuff now. Anyway, this is sticker yet, meaning it'll scratch your trowel. So I'm not going to use my good finishing trowel because I don't want to get scratch marks on it. So I have sets of tools that are dedicated to different things. In this case, heavy textured plasters. So let's just put it on here and hope she's all mixed up properly. Probably should check some more time. All right. So dark it is? Yeah. What we're looking for. Let's get it on here now. So with this technique, I'm going to talk before can't hear me when I'm putting it on. It's going to go in pretty thick. So we're going to, and this is a linear finish. So it's okay. We're going to just get it on here, but we're going to finish our trowel work top to bottom. So after we get it on, just pull it through. You don't want a whole lot of inconsistencies or anything like, well, we want it even. We don't want thin spots. We don't want thick spots. We want it fairly uniform in consistency as far as application consistency. So let's get it on and I'll come back and make it pretty. Now, this is a 2 foot by 4 foot panel. And it's going to go through a good bit of material because I'm putting on rather thick. That's what I want. I need it thick to make this look cool. So I'll probably use already a quart. I made 2 quarts up. Well into that first quart, through the first quart. My floor. So the white's coming from the bottom. I should have mixed as I went through this. I should be mixing it up. There's obviously some stuff in the bottom, probably the corners of the pail, where the bottom meets the sidewall, where material was stuck. But see, look, a little after, and she's gone. Now, what I'm doing, of course, I'm making a little more even, but I'm also listening to make sure I have uniform thickness. Aha, we're done with that. Here, it's all over me. All right, now, texture tool, okay? This comes in, obviously the 4 foot by, or 4 foot by 4 foot, 4 inch by 4 inch, but they come bigger. I think the biggest you can get them is 12 inches. It's about 12 inches by 4. So you can get a 6 by 6. If you're doing a big wall, you're going to have a helper or your apprentice, and they're going to hold a straight edge. So it could be anything, an old level, whatever you have laying around. Now they're going to hold the straight edge. If I'm starting here, they're going to hold the straight edge here. And I'm just going to pull it through like so, right up next to that straight edge. Because the straight edge is going to leave an impression in the plaster. So then they move the straight edge over and you go right through it, erasing any blemish that they may have left. All right. And then you keep going. Look at that. 4 inches perfectly all the way across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 passes. Now, see all this? We're gonna clean it. Clean it immediately. You don't want this getting hard and crusty inside your tools there because it'll ruin the tools. So we're gonna let this set up. I'll come back and show you the next steps. You'll see in just a little bit. Okay, here's where we're at. It's somewhat dry. You can see the variation. So the thinner areas are much drier. That's that lighter color. The darker areas are obviously the thicker areas. There's more moisture still trapped in those areas. Therefore, it's going to be darker. And this is where we want this perfect state to do what we're going to do for the next step. How long does this take? It's going to depend on temperature and humidity, how thick you put it on, and all these variables, okay? So don't start something in the middle of the day thinking you're going to finish it that day unless you're going to stay late. Because this has to be done at the right window or else you'll miss the opportunity to get the effect that we're looking for. Clean trowel. So what we're going to do, the moisture that's trapped in these areas right now, we're going to take a clean flat trowel, not flat, but hold in the trowel at up to, what is it? Probably about a 30-degree angle. And we're going to go ever so softly and flatten it out. And we're going to make sure that we're not going too strong too soon because we don't want to flatten the whole thing. We just want to knock down some high spots. See, we get junk on the trowel. Not junk, but it's junk. It's not no good. It's too dry to use anywhere else. And we're going to do that again. You can hear it coming off too. Listen to it falling down. It's nothing you can do about that. You just got to let it do its thing. Keep cleaning your trowel as you go. Now, we're going to come back over some, well, ahead of myself. That's a big clump. I don't like that one. So there's another big clump and be shaving those off because they're going to flatten out and be real wide and not particularly conducive to the overall look we're going for. I can just go in there and shave some of the big stuff out of the way. One more here. Yeah. And again, let's get to this. Little pressure. We're knocking down the high stuff. Clean. Knocking down the high. Now we have to knock down the high points at this stage of the game because we need that moisture to help us because we're going to be able to burnish this. The high spots. We'll be able to get that to burnish up to a gloss. And then it's going to be a flat area and a gloss on it. We're going to use that to do some other cool things. So once you have it all pressed down or laid down, smushed, we're going to go in and add a little. Now we know it's not going to go any, we're not going to smash it any flatter than what it is. Okay. Vocabulary today. So, meaning we can go in now with a little bit more pressure and start to get the burnish that we're looking for. But I'm still going to, so what I'm going to do though, is there's still a lot of moisture in there. So I'm just going to flatten her all out. Just a nice linear look. Don't worry about the crunchies that you're hearing falling off of it. We'll take care of that when we get to that point. All right. So I'm going to let this sit a little bit. I'm going to come back and burnish it because I want these flat areas to be shiny. So I'll see in just a bit. All right. So it's dried a little bit more. This is the point where we're going to get in here and start to burnish. Let's knock any crusties off we may have left. So just brush that stuff off of there. If you have a duster brush or a rag, not going to hurt anything. You want it off to the wall. Or else it could release and scratch the finish. All right. Using our pavon and a nice flat blade, the trapezoid. What is this? About a 30-degree, 25, 20-degree. Actually, it's like 22.5-degree angle, and we're going to just give it some pressure now. See, now I can put some pressure on it and get that shine that I'm looking for. See it start to come alive. Adding depth to it. We're going to burnish up and down, not side to side, just in case we catch a piece of this material and we wreck it. We don't have that left turn happening on this beautiful linear pattern. Okay, we're gonna let this dry 100%, and then come back and I'll show you the next step of the process. So let's see a little bit. She's 100% dry. And when you look across, you can kind of see some of that little sheen kicking out of there. It doesn't get as shiny as a grisello. It just gets a nice little luster to it. Now, the next step of the process, we're going to use our sizing base. Sizing base is used for gold leaf to create a sticky surface, I guess, or tacky surface, for lack of a better term, for the gold to transfer to. Now, we're going to use a foam roller. Nothing fluffy, nothing big and heavy. We don't want that. And roll off any excess because you don't want a lot of material. And here's we don't want to get the material to get down into the little crevices, okay? We just want it to roll on the top. And that's what this roller is going to do. We use anything with like texture in any way, shape, or form. It's going to get down in there, and that's not what we're looking for. We want it to ride on the surface. Now, some of it get down in there. That's okay. But we don't want it to be all over. We want it to ride on the top simply because we don't want it to take on a whole new appearance when we do the next step. And that's going to be putting on this metallic foil. Come on now. But yeah, it's a process, especially on a big wall, because you don't want to roll it like paint and get it stuck on there or pile it on. We can't pile it on the surface. It'll be a big, big mess. If I just have my little roller pan over here. Yeah, I didn't preload the roller, but I should have preloaded it better when it comes out to. All that means is just load it up properly or even pre-wet it. And then wring it out really well. That way there's no excess moisture and your material goes on the surface quicker and more uniformly. Now, what is this material? I got sidetracked. This is gilder's size. And what that is, it's an adhesive that rolls on like so. And it never dries to the touch. So, meaning it'll go on milky, as you can see it here. And as it dries, the surface becomes crystal clear. The other thing is it never stops because it's always tacky. So you have to be super clean in your workspace, or else you're going to get a lot of dirt in this, because until you do the next step of the process, which in this case will be applying the foil, and when the foil goes on, it will seal any of this sticky material, the sizing, so it won't be activated any longer. But see where I'm rolling it now? How it's milky, and watch when I come up to it, see how where it's been. You only need one coat. Some of the areas that got down in there, not going to complain too much about it. All right, but we want a uniform coverage. And we have to let this sit, and that's going to be based on temperature and humidity, how long that's going to take. Probably today. It's so humid out. 20 minutes to get ready to go over top of. So when you do on a job site, you gotta be super careful. Again, all the airborne contaminants are gonna get stuck to it and you're not going to get them out. It's like fly paper, for lack of a better reference. Be clean, be quick. All right, I'm gonna let this do its thing and dry. I'll come back in just a few minutes and I'm gonna show you the last step. All right, as you can see, the sizing is completely dry. If I touch it, it's going to get dirt into it and it's going to basically not at that point, see it sound crazy. It's going to seal that surface. So therefore, when I go to put on my metallic foil, which are the particulate sizes of basically just airborne dirt, dust, and contaminants, it won't stick because my finger has, I mean, even if I clean it, the oils on my skin are going to make it a problem. Now, let's start with, yeah. Let's get some silver in there. So these are metallic foils, not like the foil from the kitchen. All right. It has little pieces attached to, sorry, should have had it ready, but it has little pieces or particulates of foil stuck on a piece of paper. There's the back. There's the front. All right, shiny side out. Take it, crumple it. That helps break it up a little bit. I don't want to put my fingers into it because I don't want to leave any distinct traces or patterns, I guess you would say. So that stays there. I hid my brush. Where did I put my little brush? There it is. All right, got a bunch of stuff. So, stiff bristle scrub brush, right? Do not go out over that edge. This was okay because the edge is off the board. But if you go into this edge, you're going to leave a hard line. Once you get into it, it's not going anywhere. Work it in a little bit now. Yeah, you're going to go through a lot of this doing a whole wall. No lie about that. But yeah, you're going to go through a lot. Where'd the brush go? I know what you're saying, but you hit the edge. Not yet. I'm not hitting the edge just yet. You'll see. I'm gonna like puzzle them together. Mhm. Checking it. Okay. Let's take this one off. Hmm. Yeah. Okay. Don't look too bad. Pretty good. Getting there. Yeah, look at that one. So look, there's when the material is gone from here, you can start to see through it. Meaning the areas you can't see through, there's still a lot of material on that. So the more shiny or reflective the front is, means there's still a lot of material back here that we can use up. Now, piece one, piece two, you see that? No line. Don't run the brush up and down the hard line, or you're going to leave a hard line. And I'm going to come back now, use what I had left here, where that line was, just enough. I don't have any dead space. Get more of it off now that we're comfortable with it. We'll go back and do that everywhere. Yeah, we don't need to. Excuse my head. Man, there's still enough here to finish this. Yeah. Mm. You can make it work. So this is just one of the colors. There's so many. It gets overwhelming. So I'll have a direct link to this one down below. And it'll have color options as well. Boom. Look at that. Noisy. See it? How the light just dances off the surface? Might look, sorry, I gotta look over here. I can't really tell how it looks to you. It's super shiny. Looks shiny all over, but it's not. You can see it just, when I touch it, might be a little more in there. It's still a little sticky in a couple spots, so let's break out this blue. It's a little hint of blue in it. It's gonna be fun, or it's gonna be a disaster. It's gonna be fun. Not enough material. Shh, where'd you go? Oh, I took it fell. Just little hints of blue. I don't want a lot. In fact, you don't have to do the whole thing, really. You can just, now we're just trying to get any remaining adhesive. Yeah, that's cool. I'll show you in a second. It's still there. We're just trying to seal it up basically so it's no longer sticky. And that blue is just a little pop, meaning the blue is helping to push the silver down just a little bit so it's not super strong. And you can see just, gosh, it's so hard in this light. You need a lot of light for this blue to pop off. You can just see hints of it dancing all throughout the silver. Over here, you can really see it. Mhm. Finishes. All right, I'm gonna finish this off. I'll be back in just a little bit. Okay, there we are. We are finished. There's our travertine and a linear technique with silver and blue metallic highlights. And you can really see it here. You can see the nice little, the texture overall is probably about 1/8 of an inch in difference. And you just see how the metallic rides on the flat parts. Okay, super fun finish. I want to thank you for watching. My name is Ron Layman. I'm from the Faux School in Frederick, Maryland, where I teach decorative painting workshops and complete commission projects for clients all around the world. If you're interested in commissioning me or signing up for my workshops, you can find everything you're looking for in a description area below this video, including tools and materials and technique notes on how to recreate this step by step. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.